In recent years, the American housing market has witnessed an alarming surge, far outpacing the rate of inflation. With prices soaring to unprecedented levels, an increasing number of Americans find themselves struggling with the financial burden of housing costs, often consuming a significant portion of their income. However, many are unaware that this problem has roots in state and local zoning restrictions that have made it extremely difficult to develop multifamily homes such as duplexes and apartment buildings. Furthermore, outdated zoning regulations have actually led to housing segregation in American communities. For instance, you may have observed that in your city, one part of town is concentrated with apartment buildings and another is mostly single-family homes. This separation of housing often leads to lower-income minorities living in areas with apartment buildings or lower-income housing, and white affluent people living in neighborhoods with single-family homes. My research will help policymakers as well as Palo Alto homeowners and renters gain a stronger understanding of the harm of zoning policies by assessing common problems and patterns with harmful zoning regulations observed in Palo Alto that are also reflected in other areas. This graphic shows the type of housing in the greater Los Angeles area. As you can see, the pink dots represent single-family housing, and the blue dots represent housing such as duplexes or apartment buildings. As I explained earlier, the duplexes and apartment buildings are really concentrated in one area. In this case, it's central East Los Angeles, and as you get closer to the ocean where there's more premium real estate, you can observe that it's mostly just single-family zoning. This graphic represents housing segregation in the greater Los Angeles area. As you can relate to the other graph that we saw, a lot of the minorities living in Los Angeles live in that concentrated area of multifamily homes. This includes apartment buildings and duplexes. However, where there were more single-family homes, you can see more white, affluent people living in those areas. This is essentially what housing segregation is. The prices of housing determine where different minorities live. The question I wish to answer through my research is how zoning policies lead to higher-priced residential costs and contribute to exclusionary zoning in metropolitan neighborhoods. For example, zoning regulations/restrictions are often overlooked or foreign to many people, as they are complicated and hard to comprehend. Often, when building a property, developers are hired to not only design plans for construction, but also navigate through zoning regulations. However, beyond many zoning regulations is an ulterior motive. Usually, it is to make prices higher in certain neighborhoods by making it harder to build apartments or even duplexes, and instead creating only single-family homes. However, in some instances, there are cases where zoning restrictions are used to segregate communities. I intend to answer the following question through a survey that will seek the perceptions of Palo Alto residents and seek data that will be used to formulate graphics mapping demographics in neighborhoods. Furthermore, pre-existing data will be used for data such as the increase of housing prices in Palo Alto over the last few years, as well as any other data that cannot be completed in the allocated time. In conclusion, housing has become a major cost for Americans around the nation and is becoming a deciding factor of where people can live. It is important to find the causes of this and see if there are any fixes that policymakers can make to revive the housing market and make it affordable for all.